Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another Historic Brawl gameplay video. And today we are playing with one of the new cards on Arena from Pioneer Masters. So this isn't really a new card, but it just has been released on Arena for the first time. And it is Purphoros, God of the Forge. So we do have another Purphoros on Arena. Purphoros Bronze Blooded, I think, or something like that, which was from the second time we went to Theros. Purphoros, God of the Forge is from the first time we went to Theros, and all the actual cycle of the entire cycle of gods from that set have been released as part of Pioneer Masters. So what is Purphoros? It's a 4-mana 6/5 of indestructible, so they are very good stats. But like all Theros gods, it is not a creature unless our devotion to that colour is higher than 5. So in case of Purphoros, obviously, as long as our devotion is to red is less than 5, it isn't a creature. It just sits on the battlefield as an enchantment. But it has a static ability. Whenever a creature we control enters, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So importantly, this is not whenever one or more creatures we control enters. We do see abilities like that. This is any creature. So if 5 creatures enter at once, which we have the ability to do, Purphoros is going to be doing 10 to our opponent. And then we can pay 3 to pump all our creatures by +1/+0, which is relevant, but not as massively. The win con for this deck is that first static ability of just pinging our opponent. So we are building a deck that has lots of small creatures and lots of ways to create tokens. And now in mono red, one of the best ways to do that is goblins. We are not a purely goblin deck, and there are better decks to play goblins, such as Krenko, and we do have Krenko in the deck, but we are built around getting small creatures and then ways to create lots of tokens. So let's quickly go through our deck. First pile is just small creatures. Most of these are goblins, not all of them. I think, in fact, the only non-goblin is Ragavan, because we're in a red deck, of course we're playing Ragavan. Next up, we have ways to create tokens. Most of these are goblin tokens, not all of them. Some of these are goblin creatures that also create tokens, but not all of them. So we have lots of creatures that might create a token, such as Balakrai Goblin, Krenko, which we've got 2 Krenkos. This one, when it attacks, we put a +1/+1 counter on it, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. So the turn after it comes down, it's going to attack as a 2/3, so we'll create 2, but we do have some ways to pump its power. We also have other Krenko, which we have played on this channel because it's recently been reprinted in Foundations. 4-mana 3/3. Tap it to create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins we control. That can get out of hand really, really quick. And then cards like Siege Gang Commander, when it enters, create 3 goblin creature tokens. So by default, this is going to create 4 creatures, the commander, and then the 3 tokens. So it's going to do 8 with Purphoros. And things like Song of Totemzat, which lets us pump X in to create X 1/1 rat creature tokens. We also have more non-creature spells like Dragon Fodder, Forbidden Friendship, Krenko's Command, Rouse Reinforcement, which all create 2 tokens. Dragon Fodder and Krenko's Command create goblins. Forbidden Friendship is a dinosaur with haste and a soul human, and then Rouse Reinforcements are elementals. Seersizer Goblins, also a really good goblin we saw in our standard deck. Basically has raid, so at the beginning of our end step, if we attacked, we create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, so a great way to continue making tokens. And Tilalani Summoner is a really good one as well. When it attacks, we pay X and a red. If we do, create X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens, they're tapped and attacking. And we do exile those tokens unless we have a City's Blessing, which is only 10 permanents, so that's not particularly hard. The only issue is Talani Summoner is a 1/1, so if you attack with it, chances are it's going to get blocked. But if we put 5 in this and create 5 1/1s, they're attacking, but we're going to be doing 10 damage with Purphoros, so that's where the value is. Next up, we just have some wider goblin synergy. Runvelt Holdmaster gives +1/+1. The Chieftain gives +1/+1 and haste, very important with our various Krenkos. War Chief gives goblins haste and reduces the cost of goblins. Bandit Lord +1/+1, and we can pay a red and tap it to deal damage to any target equal to the number of goblins that enter under our control this turn. And Goblin Ringleader, it has haste. When it enters, we reveal the top 4 cards of our library. We put all goblin cards with this weight into our hand and the rest on the bottom of our library in any order. And then a Goblin Matron, similar-ish, 3-mana 1/1. When it enters, we just search for any goblin card, reveal it, put it into a hand. So we can search for Krenko, or maybe our opponents at 2, and we just want a 1-drop to ping them for the last amount of life. So that's pretty good as well. Next up, we just have some removal. Burst Lightning is really, really good. Cynicone Smite, it's an alchemy card. It deals 2 to end target creature. Then, if we weren't the starting player, we create a treasure token, so that's pretty good. Lightning Bolt, Shock, Spiteful Hazard, and Shattertail Smashing are lands as well, and a Braid for damage or Artifact Destruction. And next up we just have kind of everything else. Strike it rich with some ramp. Impact Tremors goes along with Purphoros. It deals 1 damage whenever a creature we control enters. Reckless Impulse and Ren's Resolve are fundamentally exactly the same cards but with different names. Exile top 2 cards of a library until the end of our next turn. We can play those cards. Arcane Signet for ramp. Ruby Medallion for cost reduction / ramp. Rising of the Day for haste. Hazaret's Monument to reduce the cost of red creature spells we cast, and whenever we cast a creature spell we may discard a card. If we do, draw a card. I did have the white version of this in here as well, because whilst we don't have any white creatures, it is colourless, so we can play it, and its cast creature trigger is we create a token. But seeing as it didn't actually affect our deck in any way, I took it out. Heraldric Banner, when it enters we choose a colour, so red. All those creatures of their chosen colour get +1/+1/0, and we can add a mana of that colour. Enduring Courage can give our creatures haste and +2/+0, and it's hard to remove. Torbrand's really good. If a red source we control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. So Purphoros is going to be doing 4 of its trigger. Panharmonicon doubles up ETB triggers, of which Purphoros is. And then Tremolo. I put it in to help with stopping our spells being countered, because we are kind of a tribal deck with goblins, but our commander isn't goblin. We do have Cavern of Souls, and we can put it on depending what we need, if at the time god or goblin. But Tremolo just lets everything be uncountable, and it's good. You know, everything in our deck is pretty much 5 or less, apart from I think 2 cards. So, well, in fact, actually, it's going to hit every single spell in our deck. So getting more tokens or getting more creatures on end step's really good just to trigger Purphoros. It's mono coloured, so we have 30 mountains, Cavern of Souls, Nykthos obviously. So Kenzin we can create tokens with, so trigger Purphoros. Handwood Battlements we can give something haste. Dwarven Mine creates a token if it enters untapped, and it enters untapped if we control 3 or more other mountains. Den of a Bugbear can create a token when it attacks, and Arena of Glory can also give something haste, and it's a better way to give something haste than Handwood Battlements. Handwood Battlements we need to tap red and give it haste, so we need 1 more mana essentially than what we're casting. Arena of Glory we can't play a red and tap it, but it adds 2, so we can do it with the right amount of mana. It's just we don't untap the arena next turn. But if we're using it to play out something like Krenko Mob Boss, we're not really fussed about the next turn, because you know, creating 4, 5, 6 goblin tokens is pinging our opponent for a lot with Purphoros, and we're going to have a big board. So that's the deck. Is it powerful? It can be. It's a very fast deck. If it gets into the mid game, we really struggle. If our opponent removes all our creatures, obviously we really struggle. It is a creature based deck, and that is always weak to removal. But when it goes well, and it goes fast. And what is quite good about Purphoros is, if your opponent has like a really big board of blockers, sometimes it doesn't matter, because you might draw, oh, I've drawn Siege Gang Commander, I'm just going to do 8 to them. By playing 1 card, or 16 to them if you've got Torbrand or Panharmonicon, or a lot more if you've got both of them. It is hard to deal with if you've got things in your hand that create tokens or create creatures, and you can just carry on going. And if you get the devotion up to 5 or more, which is not particularly difficult, Purphoros can smack into 6/5 indestructible. Although sometimes being a creature can be a downside, because that's not really our win condition. If your opponent plays Source of Plowshares on it, it's kind of annoying, but that's the deck. I really enjoy it. Hope you'll enjoy it too. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first with an okay hand. Good to see Torbrand. We've not seen him yet today. If we don't draw a 2-drop, we'll play Spiteful Hazard as a land. Need that 4th land for Purphoros. Well, I think we dash out Ragavan. He's still there, Vraska. And yeah, if we draw a land now, we can Purphoros. An untapped land, that is. Otherwise, we play Spikefield Hazard and probably dash Ragavan again, depending on what they play. Okay, we don't dash Ragavan then. I think I have to play Ragavan normally. I want the treasure for Purphoros. I could have dashed Ragavan actually. Would have had to use a treasure though. Smeagol. And then we can attack in and make the creator unblockable, unable to block. Just need more land. We have enough land in the deck. Our opponent's thinking about something. Or we can Torbran and then Burst Lightning, Glisser. Still no land.
Brunch.
Well, I think we sacrifice Ragavan.
I've always hated crowds.
Yeah. Well, at least this ramps us. Or I say ramps us, gets us the land we need. I think I'll seriously have a look at the land in this deck because we have, I think, 38. We can get down General Kriat. We put back the Panharmonicon.
I'm tired of your secrets.
They're down to 4. And Goblin Gang Leader will be enough.
You won't be outsmarting me.
And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. You know, we had 3 just by attacking with one of our tokens, but Goblin Gang Leader would do 6. Our opponent goes first. Well, if we get a third land for Hazardous Monument, that can really, really help. And obviously Impact Tremors does what we want to do with Purphoros anyway. Up against an equipment deck, I think. Well, Nahiri can actually just take care of our commander. That's a bit of an issue. It's not quite... maybe it is an equipment deck a bit. Well, there's the third land. Commanders that can take out another commander end up being a bit of an issue, basically. And they just take out our enchantment, yeah.
Justice won't be tempered.
Try and take out Nahiri. Obviously, yeah. I'm not sure about the Rabble Master.
Plans must be reforged.
Making everything have to attack is a bit of an issue.
Run away. You'll be safer. My judgment is final.
Let's take out their Wandering Emperor.
Still have much to learn.
Let's see if Krenko survives. Well, we'll play out Purphoros. Hit him for 8. Trying to figure what we do. They might just have some way to protect it. we get it off the battlefield.
Every pebble is a soldier in my army. Boulders will hail from the heavens.
We clear their board. There's Thalia. They go dig in. Yeah, they put away a Blood Moon. That's a bit of a problem. They're down to 1. We just exile 2 lands. And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. They just didn't have the blockers. And yeah, we could easily get in for lethal. We attack with 3. We create another goblin with Squee. And as I said, they can't block enough. We're against Lumra, so a mono green lands deck. We have a pretty good hand. Dwarven Mine is going to enter tapped at the moment. And so will Spiteful Hazard. But Chandra and Purphoros, I think, is a pretty good combo. See, I am going to attack. Because I don't think they're blocking. Next turn we can Nykthos and Chandra. We will Spiteful Hazard their Chandra. Lotus Cobra. Alright, let's cast Chandra.
Won't lie, I'm a pretty great pyromancer.
Don't have anything in the graveyard we want to cast. So let's just
Fire spreads fast.
put a counter. I'm going to hold back. I would really, really like a land. Let's create 2 elementals.
Don't worry, I brought company.
And next turn, we are going to be in a pretty good spot. So we cast out Purphoros. We cast Rouse Reinforcements. This is going to hit for 8? No, 6 I think. No, it is 8. And then we create...
Say hi to my hey. These little guys are great.
And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. They have what 1, 2, they have 4, 5 blockers, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 attackers, so they could actually survive, but actually no, they couldn't because the Cacophony Scamp either gets through and kills them, or it dies and kills them. We go first. Ruby Medallion can reduce the cost of everything, obviously. And there's a 3rd land. Well, let's try and get it out. Need some more goblins. Yeah, wash away wouldn't work at that point. Let's discard Burst Lightning. Well, I think we just go reasonably big with Song of Totems Ats. Hitting for 9. If we draw a land, we can Muxus. We'll exile Braid. There is a land. Well, let's see if we can get lucky with Muxus. At least they can't do anything next turn. I think we've got to do the flame caller.
You have no weakness I cannot exploit.
Decline that. And yeah, we just have lethal. Just smash through. So we didn't need that Muxus in the end. Would have been nice to see it, but yeah. We go first with a pretty good opening hand. Our opponent's mulligan down to 6. Well, actually, I'm going to dash in Ragavan. Decline that. And next one, we can Purphoros if we want to. Well, I think we dash again. It might get removed. You keep seeing all their lands. We will play out the Sphere Slicer Goblin. They are ramping. So we'll play out Purphoros. I'm going to hold back the Goblin in case they have something against attackers, but I don't see what they would for 1 red. And yeah, we'll just play out Ragavan normally. Get a couple of triggers. And next turn we can Chain Whirler. Which will definitely obviously get us over the... Wow, that's... My enchantment is indestructible. Let's Chain Whirler then. And I believe we just have lethal. Yep. There we go. More than enough. That had an interesting turn, but don't know if they realised that our commander had indestructible. Fairly sure it should give up a warning when you try and select it. But yeah, didn't do anything obviously. Opponent going first is not great. And we have no early plays. This is better, I think. Wow, okay. We can get down Purphoros next turn. And then Siege Gang Commander after that. But they are ramping quite a lot. You hit him for quite a bit. So we've got 6, so we can create 2. We can create 4, so that's 8 damage. Chain Whirler might be the better one for now, as it allows us to turn on Purphoros. They're down to 8, effectively down to 4 because of Krenko's command. And that should be it. Yeah. So, I actually don't know if they can survive just combat. They can block 6, 9. Yeah, but we have enough. And then obviously Krenko's command is 4 more damage. Opponent go first. We do have removal and some cost reduction. And we have to remove Ivy. And next turn we can get down Purphoros. Well, let's get out the scoop. And let's get out Krenko. Let's see what happens on their turn. Well, what I'm going to do is do this. That way, Krenko is going to have a lot more power. We ping them for 8. They probably have some kind of protection. But next turn, Hoarding Outburst will get us over the line. Assume he doesn't get countered. And yeah, our opponent couldn't find the answer they needed. We go first. We have a pretty good curve, and we can even create a token with Dwarven Mine. And Chandra into Purphoros is really powerful as well, because we can obviously create tokens to basically do 4 damage each turn. And I think we do play out Chandra next turn. And next turn we can Purphoros, create more 1/1s. Impact Tremors is a good draw as well for next turn. Obviously the Vampire is going to be able to start attacking down Chandra, which is quite annoying. But next time we can Impact Tremors and Legion Warboss, which will give us 5 devotion, assuming our Chandra's not taken out. We'll play the Tremors, play out the Mine, so we get the trigger from Tremors for the Dwarven Mine as well, and then play out Legion Warboss.
There is a place for all of you. This Phyrexia welcomes all.
Right, Impact Tremors. Dwarven Mine. Legion War Boss.
You'll get 'em, buddy. Oh, they're so cute.
And so that's 4, 6 with Tremors, and then yeah, we can just we're going to create another 1/1 beginning of combat. So yeah, we'll have lethal before attacking. Up against Rao, so a Spellslinger Storm deck. I think this is going to be a tough one. Turn 1 Ragavan's always pretty good though. Hopefully it survives. They could have like Storm Chaser's talent. Oh, they don't, just a tap land. Well, let's swing them with Ragavan, see what we hit. Wash away. Great. Let's play out Rabble Master. Do they block Ragavan? Yeah. Well, we take out their Brawl. We know they don't have Wash Away because it's exiled. Would like some more non-lands, please. I imagine they chump the Rabble Master. Next time we can play the Dwarven Mine and hopefully the Gang Leader.
Save you once, then it's back to my... I hope you've got bottled lightning to share.
We can't do both, unfortunately. Play out Tremors and Gang Leader. We'll attack down Rao.
Who gets that for that?
Next turn we might just pump twice with Purphoros.
I have a plan. You get to be my protege today.
We can hit him for 6. Which is what I think we do. Now, obviously, any creature will do it because Cindercone Smite can't damage players.
Think big.
Let's see what they find. They pitch a Shark Typhoon. That can get a 1 blocker. Thing is, they need 2 removal, 2 blockers. Obviously, with 1 blocker, which I can't do with Round now. We can just pump our board.
I've calculated exactly what I need.
What do they find? That will do it. So obviously we need a creature. That'll do it. Gosh, Exaxes. Yeah, we did draw quite a lot of land, but we did get there in the end.